dançarinos eles estavam lá, e era um lugar que não tinha tanto, não tinha esse problema de raça, eles tinham essa integração. O primeiro que podia ficar brancos e negros juntos no baile, entendeu?
And so I think he probably went to the Savoy ballroom maybe in 1931 or 32, and at that time there was a new dance that was starting called the Lindy Hop, and this was a dance that was really probably started by a few people, but one of them was a dancer named Shorty George Snowden, and he was very small and he had a very tall dance partner. And so this dancer was very famous as the first generation of Lindy Hoppers in the world, and Frankie was the young kids that were coming up who were starting to learn that would look at Shorty George Snowden and all of the Shorty George dancers as their heroes.
A primeira vez que ele foi no Savoy foi em 1931 e tal, e ele chegou lá e ele viu a galera que estava começando nova dança chamada Lindy Hop, que era com o Shorty George
Snowden. So there's a Shorty George.
Ele era muito pequeno e a parceira dele era gigante. E aí ele estava realmente vendo assim da galera que começou. Então tipo, essa galera eram os heróis dele.
And so Frankie would come every night to the ballroom and he'd watch the dancers and he would try to copy every dancer to learn each of their styles. And he was very good. He watches the move once, sees it twice, then he has the move.
Aí ele começou a observar a galera dançando e tal, e ele era muito bom. Ele via uma ou duas vezes, ele já conseguia copiar os passos e conseguia ver o estilo de cada um deles.
Then after a while he decided he was not going to stop copying everybody, he wanted to have his own style. And so he started to have a very unique style where he'd come down and he'd be very low and he'd be very stretched out. And this was one of the things that he became known for at the ballroom.
Então ele decidiu que ele não ia ficar só copiando, ele ia fazer o estilo dele. E aí tem várias peculiaridades, como ele abaixa, ele vai bem embaixo, estica.
Yeah, and there were many other young dancers Frankie's age. And what happened is that there was a bouncer, a very strong, tough man who was protected, like a doorman who, you know, if you were bad, he would take you to the side, tell you. So he was a big man, and his name was Herbert White. And he saw all of the young dancers, and he said, aha, maybe there's a business here. So he said, I'm going to get all of the young dancers and we'll make a dance company, and we will call it Whitey's Lindy Hoppers.
E aí teve esse segurança que ele viu os moleques dançando, mandando muito bem, e resolveu juntar e fazer dinheiro com eles, e chamou os Whitey's Lindy Hoppers.
And so what happened is at one point, Shorty George Snowden, who had the best dancers in the world at that time, kept hearing about the young kids that were coming up to dance, the Whitey's Lindy Hoppers. And he kept getting more and more angry because people said, oh, these are good kids, they're better than you. And he said, I am the best in the world, we'll settle it all for once, we'll have one contest. We'll have Frankie, we'll have the Whitey's Lindy Hoppers versus the Shorty George Snowden dancers, who was the first generation.
E aí começou a ficar famoso esses Whiteys, e o Shorty George começou a ouvir essas histórias, não, porque essa galera é muito boa, não sei o que, eles são melhores que você, e ele começou a ficar revoltado e ele resolveu fazer uma disputa, a galera dos Whitey's Lindy Hoppers com a galera do Shorty George, que é o grupo deles, assim, tá?
And so Frankie, when he heard that there was a contest, Herbert White said, you're the best dancer, Frankie. You will go last because you will be our strongest dancer and you will compete against Shorty George.
E aí o segurança lá, o Whitey, ele resolveu fazer a estratégia de colocar o Frankie por último para competir direto com o Shorty George.
Frankie was so scared, he says, I don't want to do it. He said, no, he's too good.
Ele ficou morrendo de medo e falou, não, ele é bom demais, eu não vou conseguir competir com ele.
But finally what happened is Frankie worked very, very hard, and he worked with his partner and they came up with a new step, which was a step where he took the woman and he threw her over the shoulder. It was maybe the first time that you had a air step, yes, an aerial.
E aí ele estudou, praticou e tal, e inventou um novo passo que ele pegava a parceira dele e jogava por cima dos ombros dele, e foi o primeiro aéreo.
And so the night of the contest came, and they had each dancer would go out, and each dancer would go back, and then the final dancer was Shorty George. When Shorty George came out, he did a funny dance, and at the end everyone went crazy because like he was the best dancer, and everyone was nuts, and Frankie said, I don't want to dance.
E aí começou a disputa, aí tipo, entrava um, entrava outro, ficava disputando, e aí quando chegou o Short George, ele fez uma dança engraçadinha, não sei o que lá, e no final todo mundo levantou, aplaudiu pra caramba, não sei o que lá, e o Frankie falou, não, eu vou demais, vai dar um...
But what he said, you must dance. So Frankie went out, and Chick Webb, who is the band, Chick Webb, Ella is the drummer, the band leader, knew Frankie.
Savoy.
And he said, Frankie, what song do you want? And so he said, they've been having one song for all the other dances, so they gave Frankie's favorite song, so Chick Webb said, we'll play your favorite song. And so he started playing his favorite song, and they were going, and they were dancing, and then at the very climax of it, Frankie comes around for the aerial, and he takes his partner and throws her in the air, and Chick Webb goes, and she lands, boom, bam, and everyone goes, and it's like the first time anybody's seen it, everyone crazy, because they saw that Frankie had won, like he had danced better than Shorty George. And it was that moment that the entire Savoy Ballroom in the whole world realized the next generation of dancers, with Frankie as the best, had come in to lead the next generation of Lindy Hoppers.
E aí o baterista da banda, ele estava tocando a mesma música para todo mundo dançar e tal.